If you watched my last video, you guys know that I previously had a partner while my coworker actively had a crush on me. But what y'all didn't know is that when I confessed to my partner, now ex at the time, and we started dating, I kept that a secret for 3 months. Yep. For 3 months, I kept it a secret that I was dating one of my longtime crushes that I was in constant denial of having a crush on. I was in denial for so long that my friends dropped the idea completely of the two of us having a crush on one another. All of this because I wanted to save it for when my friend group did our semester recap. So for some background, the summer before our first semester of college back in 2023, my friend group wanted to do semester recap since we weren't going to be seeing each other very often anymore, since we were all going to different colleges. So what better way to catch up with your besties than to do a full recap of your semester at the very end. This, however, meant that any major event that happened to us, we had to keep a secret until we could meet up and present our slideshow recap. So you can bet that there were a lot of, OMG, I would tell you this right now, but I have to save it for the recap. Or, I can't wait to tell y'all this, but y'all gonna have to wait till the recap. But my semester recaps were never anything crazy. I never had much of a social life outside of college or home. I still don't. And kept more in contact with my closest friends, so my recaps were never anything crazy that it would warrant any crazy reaction. My college is also a commuting college, which means that once my classes were over, I would just kind of drive back home immediately. We don't have much of a campus life at my university, and the times we do, they're held at the time everyone has headed home for the day already. But this was my time to absolutely blow my friends' minds away, because literally, I love getting a good reaction out of people. Even my friends are sometimes shocked by the things I say and do, and dating is one of the things that they would least expect out of me. But first, before I get into how I did the big reveal, I unfortunately have more lore to get into. Let's call my now ex-partner Brady, and keep this guy Tanner in the back of your mind for now, and we'll get back to him. So it's 2023, leading into 2024. Brady had been friends with me and my friend group since 2020. We became friends over Genshin, by the way. Take what you will with that information, because this was over COVID that we met him. And during this time, I was struggling a lot with identifying with my sexuality. I didn't even identify as aromantic yet. It's just a whole lot to get into, but for now, you just have to understand that at the time, I was only asexual, and I was struggling to come to terms with that fact. And being asexual and still desiring a relationship is not fun. I just had so many conflicting feelings of wanting to identify as being asexual, but still wanting to find a relationship where it was okay for me to express my sexuality. I struggled even more when I was faced with the fact that I may have had a crush on Brady at the time. And let me tell you, I thought I was being so secretive, you guys. Like, literally as secretive as possible. But I was, in fact, not. Because my friends could literally see right through me. They suspected me for having a crush on this guy for 2 years, before they eventually stopped being sus and dropped the whole thing completely. Like, guys, even my guy best friend knew something was up before I even knew something was up. But you know, thank God it was dropped, because I was not ready to confront that fact yet. I didn't even know what I was feeling. Like, thinking back at the time, I think I did have a crush on him, like genuinely, but I was so in denial of that since it was so conflicting with my sexuality that I just completely denied the allegations when my friends asked. I had so many late night calls with him, just him and me, where we'd talk about literally anything, or like random text banter that was just between me and him. Like, of course your friends are gonna suspect you, Jill, you fucking dumbass. You weren't keeping anything a secret. He even told me at one point that I was the person he felt most comfortable with. Just overall, I felt really connected to this guy, you know, that deep and emotional connection that I crave with someone. And it just got me crushing on him. But again, I was in so much denial that I completely pushed the feeling away at one point. My best friend texted me at one point asking, "Do you like Brady?" And I laughed, replying, "No, I don't like him." Guys, I'm not even joking, the denial was so strong. And after I said that, I just kind of got over him, just completely dropped any feelings I was having for him and went back to treating him as I was, which was one of my friends. Eventually, I was actually starting to feel confident and proud again with my sexuality. And then I met Tanner. So who the fuck is Tanner? I met Tanner online as well, through TikTok this time. I know how that sounds. Because I posted a vent art on my TikTok account, and he commented on it, relating to it. And after that, he just kind of kept DMing me from there, since he related a lot to my vent art. And then we found out that we were kind of similar in some areas. We'd been talking for about a month, and I was going, wow, I'm so glad I made a new friend today. And because I was viewing it in that way, I was blind to what was coming next. So he'd gone offline from texting me for a bit, and if I'm being so for real, I did not care. We weren't that close. We were only texting for like 2 months-ish or something. I don't even remember thinking, wow, he's been offline for a bit. I should text him, because we weren't so buddy-buddy that we're arms locked frolicking through a field of flowers. It was nothing like that. But eventually he came back online, and sorry I haven't been texting you lately. I've just had a lot on my mind. Oh, that's alright. What's been up? Is everything okay? Well, if I'm being honest, I have a crush on you. Thinking about this now, I'm like, girl, be so fucking for real right now. Again, this is another situation where I show some charisma through text and I somehow get some dude crushing on me out of nowhere. Like, and you know, obviously I'm shocked because, bro, we haven't even known each other for that long. And you also literally disappeared for a while before coming back to tell me that you liked me. At this point, he also knows I'm asexual, by the way, but he was giving me the, I know you're asexual, but I can't help feeling this way. Not exactly like that, but you get what I mean. Also, like, it's probably low-key because I blocked this memory from existence, and now writing a script about it, I'm realizing how bad this was. So he basically tells me, I haven't been texting you because when I like someone, I get so nervous that I just pull myself away. And now I'm just conflicted. My self-esteem and self-image at this point in my life was very bad because one part of me is so honored that someone actually liked me. I never thought of myself as likable enough for someone else to date. This part of me is conflicting with my asexuality on top of my desire to be in a relationship. I didn't know at the time that it was normal to still feel a desire for a relationship, even as an asexual. So I tell him plainly, give me some time. I wasn't sure what to do. I'd never been put in this kind of a situation before because I know how much I value emotional connection I have with people, but honestly, my ego was telling me to go for the guy. I was seriously thinking, when will there ever be a guy that will like a girl like me? Ew, I sound like a I'm not like other girls. What the fuck? So after 3 days of making this guy wait and him kind of egging me to answer, I said yes. I still definitely wasn't feeling like 100% sure, but my ego was screaming at me to like just take my chances. We went over boundaries and I made sure to clearly emphasize the fact that I am asexual, that he cannot change the fact that I am asexual, that I have specific boundaries as an asexual, one namely being absolutely nothing sexual, and that doing anything in spite of my sexuality was an instant deal breaker. Guess what he does the next moment? Right. He gets horny on main. I went to sleep that night so conflicted that I listened to my ego instead of my reason, and the next morning, not even 24 hours into us officially dating, he texts me he loves me. In that instant, I'm texting my best friend for help. I don't know what to do anymore. I'm uncomfortable. I don't know what to think. It felt like all the progress I made coming to terms with my sexuality was for nothing because, I don't know, man. My head was all over the place because of asexuality, the desire for a relationship. So long story short, after I texted another asexual friend of mine, I broke up with this guy. I should have known myself better, honestly. I was literally valuing being on call with my closest friends versus being on call with this guy when he called me out of nowhere. And while I was on call with my friends already. Shout out to my best friend Tandy Bowen and my friend Orchid. You guys really helped me through that situation. Also, yes, I asked my best friend if she wanted to use an alias and she said Tandy Bowen. So my best friend is now Tandy Bowen. Anyways, after that whole thing, I went down another hole trying to understand what it meant for me to be asexual, that I ended up going down the rabbit hole of what aromanticism was like. I was starting to identify a lot with being aromantic. I even rewatched it in Animation's video about being aroace at the time. I only thought I identified as being asexual through her video, but then after some personal soul searching and that whole thing with Tanner, I found myself coming to terms with my asexuality as well as being aromantic. Then somewhere down that line, I started rethinking my whole crush on Brady and thinking, yeah, I did have a crush on this guy and I still do. But then came another dilemma. I didn't know what to do with these feelings. I've never confessed to anyone before, much less had a crush on anyone. So I was just kind of sitting with those feelings for a while. And then Brady did the work for me by texting in our Discord server with our friends. And I quote, by the way, I have the receipt still. I can't tell if a girl is being friendly or has a crush on me. Y'all, when I tell you, I freaked the fuck out. I legit thought he already found out. And I don't know, but then I remembered that this guy is literally a rock. He's a rock that lives under a rock. That motherfucker is dense. But I forgot that in my panic, and I just sort of confessed out of pure fear that I'd been found out. So then as it turns out, I hadn't been found out. I was just panicking big time, but the actual confession actually went really well, and he was being really sweet about it. Anyways, yeah, I confessed to him, and knowing him, I wasn't really expecting it to go anywhere past me confessing to him, because I didn't know if he knew what he was feeling at the time, but to my surprise, he actually returned my feelings. Neither of us had been in proper relationships before, especially him, because I'd been in relationships before, but not in relationships where I was comfortable with my own label. So this was a first for the both of us. And yeah, we became official. I gotta say, I was really excited and happy. I don't think I'd ever been that happy entering a relationship before. And I think that's very telling in comparison to the relationship I had entered previously. So then I told him, do not tell anyone, okay? I'm gonna use this in my semester recap and give them the surprise of their lifetime. And so I did. I kept this shit a secret for 3 long months. And throughout those 3 months, I was practically begging myself to keep this shit a secret because I was just so excited to tell my friends. But I literally could not keep a secret to myself because I was basically telling everyone and their moms that wasn't in my main friend group that I was going to do the semester recap with. Like literally my guy best friend knew. I told him like immediately. One of my old friends from middle school that I was going to college with knew. Basically everyone knew except my 3 friends in my main friend group. I was also just really excited because I knew they'd be so happy for me. Shocked, but also really happy for me, especially Tandy, because she knew how badly I'd been struggling with discovering my identity. And so they waited in anticipation because they knew it was something big. And then finally the day came where 3 long months of waiting would finally come to fruition with this reveal, guys. So stay with me, guys, because I had this shit planned out. So here's my plan. I'm going to do the big reveal by making them play a PeoJardy. What the fuck, dude? I can't say the name because it's copyrighted, by the way. So we're going with PeoJardy. I was too broke to buy buttons for them to press, so I bought them party blowers for them to blow, and that's how I would decide who would answer the question. I even customized a PeoJardy game on a website. When they got to the final PeoJardy, I'd have them guess what they think was the big thing that I'd been keeping a secret for so long, and then just outright do the big reveal, and I'd get a big reaction. That was my whole plan, okay? So I also went last to present, not because they wanted my big reveal last, but because no one was volunteering, and Tani got so frustrated that she went first. So then it was my friend Lachuga and then my friend Tina. These are all alias names, by the way. And then finally it was my turn. I turned on my presentation, did a little introduction of what I had prepared for them, so they knew they were going to have to do a PeoJardy before the reveal. And then finally, after a bit of photo dumping of what went on during my semester, I brought out the PeoJardy and the party blowers. We went about the game as normal, and then we finally got to the final question. It actually wasn't a question. I just told them to guess what happened, and then when they didn't have an answer, I just revealed it. And I got met with the exact reaction that I waited for 3 whole months. Here's an audio clip of them to get a good idea of the reaction.
So who's the father?
What? I knew it, but I didn't know that. But I knew it was something with that. I just didn't think it was that.
There's no way. Premarital dating?
Wait.
Shut the fuck up. Are you fucking kidding me?
That's crazy.
Shame.
That's crazy.
So she gonna send that to him. She gonna think that she's cheating on him, bro. Why would you do that?
No way. I suspected this very long ago.
Who told you that?
I kept that shit a secret, and it was finally out. I texted Brady that it was finally revealed, and we'd actually planned to change our profile pictures as soon as it was revealed, so it really became official for everyone then. Even our online friends that didn't know, because I forgot to tell them, like, they found out that way too because we changed our profile pictures. And then everyone was freaking out on the group chat because Tani texted our Discord server with so much fiercity when she saw Brady was online and had changed his profile picture that she texted the all-knowing,
"Brady, what the fuck?
If you hurt her,
It's on site."
So yeah, that's the story. And if y'all watched my previous video, you guys already know we've been broken up for a while now because of personal circumstances between the both of us. Obviously, I won't go into details, but he was going through a lot that he wouldn't communicate with me, and so things just didn't work out because of that. Honestly, I was really upset because of the circumstances that led up to us breaking up, not really the breakup itself. But I really have no hard feelings for this guy. It's literally been over a year now since that happened. Actually, has it been over a year? I don't know. This story really didn't age well, but it still makes for a really funny story to tell from just the 3-month secret standpoint. And even though it didn't work out in the end, I know more about myself and what I want in a relationship, and I just hope that Brady is in a better place than where we left off. Thanks for listening, guys. I just know that from the script alone that this is a lot, so thanks for sticking through all the way to the end. It was actually really therapeutic to revisit and reflect on all of this. I really appreciate all the support with my first video. I still can't believe you guys got me to 500 subs in less than 3 days. That's literally wild work. And if you're still here, by the way, just as a quick update on life, I do start university again in a couple days. Maybe in less than a few hours once this is released. I don't know how long this will take me to edit. Or maybe I'm already back in classes. Who knows? So expect things to slow down with my longer videos, but I'll still most likely be working on shorts and other art in the meantime. But anyways, thank you guys so much again for the support, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Okay, bye!